in academia it might work, because your end goal in academia to do something. If it works, publish it, move on. The notion or the discussion that the people had in academic and industry setup, so-called repetitive job. That's not repetitive job.
How important this academic research and industry work when you hire a first talent?
Science is not complete if you don't know how to communicate what you did.
True. If you want to be in a position, in the long run, over the period of time down the line, is PhD imperative?
So to be honest, I wanted to become a medical doctor.
Medical doctor.
Yeah, I think the content that is being taught by the institutes to the students need to be revised.
Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. In this video, we got a guest, Dr. Rakeshwar sir, who is a renowned scientist who works at interface of industry and academia. So, sir is going to address all the queries M.Pharm or M.Sc Chemistry students have. So, in this video, it will be like I will be asking questions and he will be replying to that. So, more about sir, he himself will clarify you and he will give you an intro by himself. Sir, over to you.
So, thank you, Samir, for inviting me to address certain queries that a student may have regarding their career in the area of chemical sciences. And coming to my introduction, I am practicing science in in chemistry since last more than 25 years, and reflecting back to kind of fit in your shoes, why someone should practice or opt career in chemical sciences. There are a couple of reasons, although I will try to elude through answering the questions that Samir may ask. But most important thing is to if you are passionate about pursue career in chemistry, there is enormous amount of opportunities, and you can make a difference through basic sciences by contributing to the research and development of medicine, which is quite profound aspect of uh, career that one can think of pursuing in this area.
So first of all, I would like to ask that what drive you towards the chemistry? Like there are other fields also. So what made you to opt for chemistry in your career?
So to be honest, I wanted to become a medical doctor.
Medical doctor.
Yeah. So because of some reason, I could not become doctor, but at the same time, the passion for medicine was always there in my mind, and there is second best opportunity to be associated with medicine is nothing but pursuing chemistry, because chemistry is everywhere.
Okay.
In your biological system, in non-living, in any living beings, whatever you do, whatever you see, there is chemistry everywhere. So since I had a dream of becoming a doctor, then I thought of pursuing my career in chemical sciences, so that I can understand how these medicines are being made, how how medicines are helping society, how the patients are getting cured out of the medicine. So, and that those aspects get boiled down to the medicinal chemistry, followed by translation research of chemical sciences through medicinal chemistry reaches to industry. And in industry, what people do, either it is discovery or generic industry, people start working on drug substance and drug product, and how these drug substance are being made, and all those things are being governed by the basic fundamentals of chemical sciences. So, as I said, this is second best option that I could think of. Hence, instead of going any other direction, I pursued my passion in chemistry, and eventually I got associated with pharma industry,
Okay.
where I can connect between chemistry and medicine.
Okay.
and quite fulfilling and it's rewarding.
When it comes to students who are pursuing medicinal chemistry or M.Sc Chemistry, so from premier institutes like NIPER and all, there is a common notion that they will not get a job. Most of the time, they are not landing in a job, or it is only for some papers only they are working in the lab, and it is very difficult to get a job. So how do you see that? What is your take on that? So students must be equipped with something else before they are stepping into industry, or what are the critical skills they should inculcate in their journey, right from the academia.
So in my introduction, I uttered one word called passion. So this is not true. If you are passionate about pursuing medicinal chemistry or process chemistry or any discipline of chemical sciences, there is plenty of job available. And the first thing first, NIPERs or any premier institution in India or abroad, their role is to equip you with knowledge. So as long as you are in academic setup, make sure that you learn as much as you can and start thinking of the learning that you have. What are the ways to translate that learning to the tangible asset, right? So if you have the learnability potential to translate your basic fundamental knowledge to contribute to the life saving medicines. I think these couple of things are good enough to cement your thought process that the career in chemistry is going to bring some sort of glory in your life, provided you are serious about what you are doing. So the to be specific to answer your question, I think the notion that the students may have is not right.
Okay.
As long as you are passionate.
Okay.
If you are not passionate, be any branch of science, it's very difficult to get a job. So if you are a chemist learning chemistry, better learn it well and find passion in learning chemistry and doing chemistry moving forward. I think this pharma industry will definitely give you opportunity to have a fulfilling career.
I know that you are a member of lot of boards of lots of academic institutions. So as you work in industry and be a part of those boards, so what do you feel by yourself? Where is the gap? Academia versus industry. Where is the gap? What do you feel about it?
I think the content that is being taught by the institutes to the students need to be revised.
Okay.
It should be industry oriented. The fundamentals are going to be same. Let's assume you are talking about synthesis of some product by using transition metal catalyzed transformers, right? So instead of limiting to the model substrate, which has no relevance in terms of activity, can you find application of that type of chemistry in active pharmaceutical ingredient, right? Through teaching, through practical, and keep in touch with the industry scientist or industry itself, and try to send students for internship to the industries, and students should have first hand experience what is the need of industry, how they work, and when they come back to the college and university before they finish their degree, they will have sense of purpose, why they're pursuing chemistry or medicinal chemistry or process chemistry or any type of branch of chemical sciences, and they will find opportunity to work for industry. Not only in industry, there are plenty of job in academia.
Okay.
Right. So if you do fundamental discovery by being a professor or researcher as a part of academic institution, and that finding can be extrapolated, and industry scientists can find translational aspect of that innovation and make it happen at scale. in the interest of treating patients.
Okay.
Although it's a long journey, but if it gets materialized over the period of time, your life will be extremely fulfilling.
When I talk to some scientists who are working in the synthetic R&D and all, I often hear one thing that they are doing repetitive tasks, and what can make them continuously challenged and interested towards the chemistry. So it may be their point of view, I would say, but still, what is your take on this?
I think the notion or the discussion that the people had in academic and industry setup, so-called repetitive job. That's not repetitive job. It is the job to make something perfect and robust.
Okay.
So that you find ways to make things happen at bench scale. What is the guarantee it's gonna happen at kilo scale or beyond kilo scale? So you need to keep on repeating that experiment till you get perfect way of doing it, right? Although the things are changing, there is a statistical tool coming in the picture. Digital sciences are coming in the picture. The degree of repetitive experiments are also going to be reduced because you get a lot of solid insights from these tools to avoid number of repetitive experiments, yet you achieve robust way of doing things. So in industry, unless something is scalable, it has no meaning.
True, yeah.
Right? In academia, it might work because your end goal in academia to do something. If it works, publish it, move on. But industry, the game starts when something works. Then you have to make it work at scale. A lot of other aspects come in picture. Then you have to do one experiment 10 times and then take help of other tools to, instead of doing 10 times next attempt, you do it 2 or 3 times to reach to the same level of robustness. So it's all science. But in route, can you find innovative way of doing things which is much better than innovator or your benchmarked competitors which are already there in the market or in the domain, and differentiate yourself. So again, it boils down to passion. If you're passionate, you will do things differently.
As you have seen lots of students who are stepping into industry, and you have mentored lot of students so far. So what are the mistakes they are making in the early phase of their career once they are stepped into the industry? What do you have seen so far?
So there are a couple of things that one should know. What I understood, they start taking shortcuts.
Okay.
In experimental science, there is no shortcut. Point number one. And they start drawing comparatives with the other cross-functional team members, where experimental sciences are not involved.
Okay.
It's a very strict data-driven activity. Here you are dealing with a lot of unknowns. Then you need to put sincere efforts to make things known, right? And chemistry is the part of research and development. If something is known, you shouldn't be doing research, right? So you are bound to encounter a lot of failures before you succeed. However, in other domain, when there is a data, for example, there is a massive data, you need to just fill the Excel sheet. What is the possibility of succeeding in this? 100%, provided you do it in time, right? Without committing mistake.
Yeah.
And here you are doing something, you don't know whether it's going to work or not. So in that scenario, and you start comparing yourself with those folks, with due respect, who is doing this, which is also critical and important thing to do. But you are just literally comparing apple with oranges, right? And comparing that oranges are being sold at much higher price than the apple, right? Now it's your responsibility. How can you add value to your way of working so that your ideas yourself could be sold at much higher price? So literally what I mean to say is focus on what you do with passion, perfection, and become result oriented.
Speaking of this R&D work culture and all, I would like to mention one more thing. I think nowadays students are more inclined towards, like you said, be it some documentation activities or sitting in front of a laptop and doing some activities in pharma or IT. So, what is the contrast? Like, how do you see that the contrast between real science and playing with the data, whatever is generated from the lab? So, what is your take on that?
Let me tell you, the data management, intelligent way of communicating a story is also very important and critical.
Okay, okay, okay,
It is as good as performing scientific activity.
okay,
Only the difference is there is a certainty element inbuilt with I would say you can literally do the job with certainty factor. If you're laborious, if you're sincere, and if you're careful, I'm sure you will be able to do this. Here, if you're laborious, sincere, intelligent, every element is there. Still, there is no guarantee that you will be successful.
there are some uncertainties every day.
There is. That's what this is a matter of research and development, right? So, having said that, if you are following certain fundamentals of chemical sciences, if you are up to date in terms of reading, writing, what is happening in this area, you will have innovative ideas to do things differently, and the chances of becoming successful will be much higher, right?
Okay,
So, and then there will be a high level of satisfaction. However, in other fields, you will be satisfied once your work is done. Here, you will be satisfied when others are taking advantage of or others are getting things done out of your innovation, right? You can create global impact. However, other field people can also create a global impact, but it depends how they do and what they do. Here, in the area of science, if you do sincere science, there is a high level of possibility you can create a global impact,
true, true.
right?
Rightly said. I know that you have 200 plus publications altogether. So how important to be a part of, scholarly publications being in the industry, and how does that make an impact to the scientific community?
See, so science is not complete if you don't know how to communicate what you did.
True.
If you are not a good storyteller, if you don't know how to interpret the data, the great science has no meaning. So either you publish or you don't publish. It's immaterial. As long as you are a great storyteller, as long as you can present complex thing in a simplified manner, you are a successful scientist.
Okay.
This is point number one. Second thing is disseminating knowledge in the interest of students and scientific fraternity. It is important to share the knowledge so that your innovation can be employed in someone's endeavor to make their product successful.
True, true.
Because the objective of any scientist is to improve the quality of life in the society, right?
Correct, correct.
So as long as your business is not impacted out of the disclosure that you are publishing, I suggest the knowledge that you generated and it is not kind of impacting business of your employer, it is protected by IP. You should be given permission to publish so that other people can understand what kind of science is being done in a particular organization. And by having that knowledge which is published, if somebody is making their research improved, there is a, you are maximizing the impact of your uh, science that you did through publication.
Correct. I want to ask a particular question that once students are done with their MSc or M.Pharm from be it from Premier Institute or other institutes and they joined to industry. So the PhD, how much it will impact the corporate ladder, climbing of corporate ladder. So if you want to be in a position in the long run over the period of time down the line, is PhD imperative?
Let me tell you to me what is PhD. To some people, PhD is a degree, but to me, PhD is an attitude for not giving up on, on things that you are doing. If you do solid PhD, you will develop resilience power. You will not fail. You will not kind of bog down out of failures that you might encounter in your career. You will keep trying. You will try to understand why I am being failed. You will keep improving. If there is a possibility of making that particular thing successful, although you already have experienced failure, you will make things happen. So it does not require PhD degree. It requires perseverance.
Okay.
It requires, you know, trying to understand what are the uh, challenges, what are the gaps that I'm not able to find. Fundamentally, it should work, but why it is not working? So this attitude, which quite often found to be inculcated if we have gone through the PhD training, and the PhD scientists which are in quote unquote real PhD scientists, they will be much more productive. They will have better leadership attributes to get things done with high level of responsibility.
So, right away after the graduation, what do you suggest? Go for PhD or be in the field of industry and work for some time and later on think about PhD? Because I have seen so many students or learners after graduation right away they will enroll into PhD and after completion of that they're struggling to get the job. So because they don't have any connections or
I think um, the word connection is not appropriately put. The good network,
yeah.
good network will help you provided you are a great scientist. I'm not talking about good scientist, great scientist, and that should not be measured by the number of publications. That should be measured by the trainability, your approach to solve the problem, your in-depth knowledge, and ability to apply knowledge to solve certain problems, or bringing in out of the box thinking or out of the box ideas, right? So as long as all these things are there, I think you would be doing great. Either you go through PhD program, then postdoc coming back to industry, or you straight away come to industry. And there are certain industries they encourage higher education. We call it in situ setup, but there is a elegance in doing PhD while working, because if you do, there are two types of trainings through higher education programs like PhDs and postdocs one can think of. One is thematic PhD, where you are given a topic, you deep dive, you find something, discover something, and bring it to certain level where somebody can take it forward and get it realized at industry. So most of the discoveries happen through this track. Let's assume you are trying to do PhD by being part of industry where you are employed, still you want to go for higher education. Here you can't afford doing thematic PhD.
Okay.
You can do PhD around the projects that you are doing, because there will not be any constraint of raw materials, solvents and other things. But the design of the study should be so good that the outcome can get translated to solve certain industry problems. If you do this, then you are very close to impact patient's life. If you do academic PhD, you are also impacting society, but it is far fetched, because somebody has to take from there to make it more practical before it ends to industry.
True.
Right? And as long as you are serious scientist, either you do PhD while working or you do PhD independently by getting enrolled at premier institution, you will definitely make contribution to your domain. Right?
Okay.
So in my opinion, either the PhD in industry or in academia, it's up to you how you are going to make your PhD program productive, translational, and bringing avenues for solving bigger challenges.
As there is a advent of AI nowadays, and lot of updations are coming, and world is transforming in a fast pace. So what is a typical day look like in a chemistry lab? So I'm not talking about academia. So in industry, as you know, there are a lot of emerging trends, emerging technologies are coming into play nowadays. So, what is a typical day look like? Like I am a scientist who is entering into a lab, maybe from the day beginning or after the training, or be it after the probation period or whatever. So, how does that go?
Industry, the way it operates, there is already a foundation built.
Okay.
Now, industry has to go to next level. So as society changes, as scientific patterns, scientific advancement happens, industry also has to change. Now we are living in the era of artificial intelligence. So pharma industry is also evolving along that line, right? So a lot of tools and technologies which are fueled by artificial intelligence are finding application in industry practices. Be it be ideation or experimentation or any aspect of pharmaceutical uh, entire value chain. So as and when you find that AI is gonna help speed up, go ahead and make use of it with a caution. It's not dent your creativity.
True.
Right? So you can augment your creativity by making use of AI, right? But it shouldn't be using AI's creativity over your scientific intellect. You need to find a interface where AI excellence
Yeah.
is getting integrated with natural intelligence and move ahead with the best options available, which are being thought and recommended by the AI tools. Otherwise, the the ability of thinking will get impacted if you become totally dependent on AI.
Yeah. Correct.
So let mundane work is done by AI and take a recommendation from AI, but think through what is best suitable options that you can take and move forward to get your things done. That's the best strategy that I can think of. So there is always a notion that AI is going to change or AI is going to replace natural intelligence. It's not going to happen ever. But natural intelligence as such is not going to be enough. So there should be an interface where these two domains, natural intelligence and artificial intelligence, should work synergistically to maximize the advent of AI tools in the interest of society.
So I would like to ask one question, that how important this academic research and industry work when you hire a fresh talent. For example, he has worked in the lab for a lot of papers are there. He has some good work in the college. So when you hire a fresh talent, so what is the contrast like when he comes to industry? So how he has to tailor in a particular way that is favorable to that industry environment.
So the first thing is, while students are there in the college or university, they should have to have short stint spent at industry.
So like internship or
Internship.
Okay, yeah, that would be
So
highly
that,
suggested.
so that they should know how industry operates, what industry is looking at in the candidate, and once they go back before finishing their degree, they might customize their approach. This is point number one. Second thing is, if they get opportunity to work for industry, they should switch the gear of being part of industry from being as a student at academic institutions, because that's a knowledge intensive organization. Here it is business intensive, fueled by knowledge, right? Fundamentals are common everywhere, anywhere there is academia or industry, but there is a practical application of knowledge that happens in industry. Practical application of knowledge in academia can happen, but it is not bound to happen because the nature of work is different, right? They have to study, they have to learn and qualify the exams. Here they don't have to give exam, rather they need to find application of their knowledge to solve problems, right? So there will be transient tenure where they might feel little suffocated
Initially,
because they were comfortable as a student, but when they join industry, the way of working is totally different. So better they should get mentored by senior industry scientists, handhold till they transition well and start respecting the industry norms and how industry operates. Other important thing is, once the student comes from academia to industry, it is responsibility of industry scientists to find the passion of that students. Accordingly, they can employ that um, student which is no longer a student but employee of an organization, so that he can live scientist within if he is passionate about being a scientist, or he can live as a manager if he is passionate about being a manager and pursue the career in management. So the mentorship should be customized as per the passion of the incoming incumbent to the industry. Then you see the students who come from universities or colleges, they feel comfortable and very productive in the organization. Otherwise, you are asking fish to climb the tree, which is not correct.
yeah, actually, they need little bit of hand holding in the beginning. Yeah, that is you rightly said. So we are going to wind up. Do you have to say to the young, aspiring chemist or scientist who is stepping into, medicinal chemistry or M.Sc Chemistry, or who are going to take admissions, or after who are just done with their degree and join to industry, or who are searching for the jobs? What is an advice you have to them?
So my advice will be to kind of first find out what's your passion.
Yeah.
Don't do chemistry if you're not passionate about doing chemistry
True.
in future. Don't be enforced. Don't get carried away because my friend is going to chemistry and I should also go for chemistry.
Sorry to interrupt. Because of some rank and all, allotment will be given, like they will be getting chemistry and they are ended up in chemistry and they are completely frustrated, lifelong. I ended up in chemistry. I don't want to work in chemistry.
So this interview might help them. As I said, why a passionate chemist feels suffocated once they study chemistry. This is less likely and this is not happening. If it is happening, it means they don't know what are the career opportunities. Right? So once they know what is career opportunity available and they are passionate chemists, then they can go for being a scientist in future.
Okay.
Otherwise, they need to watch such kind of podcasts or interviews. There are plenty
Yeah.
on YouTube.
There is no dearth of content nowadays.
So contents are around, and always choose a mentor in academia as well as in industry both.
Yeah.
If you don't choose, trust me, you will be confused, right? So first thing is you find out your passion. Second thing is choose a mentor. Third thing is do not have a competitive drug. Trust in yourself and in your abilities and follow your passion. It is quite common, not to chemical sciences, but anything that you do in your life.
Okay, that's it, sir. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us in this interview. I think this is going to help lot of students out there who are, aspiring to be a chemist or scientist in the near future, who are going to take admission. So thanks for joining me. It is great to have you with me and in this podcast. Hopefully, this is going to help lot of students. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
I am glad that we spoke about it, and we should be talking such kind of things in future too.
Yeah, thank you.